band in Trinidad.
Yo!
Yeah. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
God damn it!
Hey, bad boy.
You know we crazy.
Hey.
This is Burdie.
This is Barney.
This is not the Pep Guardiola Appreciation Show.
It should be. It should be.
It is the Burdie and Barney Show. Come, Barney. We have more class than that.
Yeah.
We have more class than that.
Again, to introduce her.
Introduce her.
Today, we have Trinidad and Tobago's former women's senior team captain, Maylee Attin-Johnson. What does it say about Maylee, boy? National Under-20 team manager. We'll do this. We go do this.
Welcome to the Burdie and Barney Show, Maylee. How are you going?
Well, what kind of introduction is that? Is this the Earth and Bird show?
Hey, leave the jokes over here. Leave the jokes over here. We're going to stop. You know,
Maylee, I tried with Barney. I already tried with him.
You know, we had to start getting football people on the show, you know, because Shaka is a comedian. Maylee is a comedian too. Where the football people? Girl, I vouch for you. Behave yourself coming here.
Maylee, I trying with him. Okay. So you're crossing Atlanta now. What's going on? You all wear masks over there?
Yeah, we do. Today is a good day in terms of the weather. So I'm in a good mood. I'm in a very good mood today.
Maylee, what's the temperature? Your idea good and my idea good might be different. What's the temperature?
Right now it's 59 degrees, so it's not bad.
Yeah, see, we don't talk Fahrenheit here, you know, Maylee. We don't talk Fahrenheit. It's a foreign accent you're talking there, you know. We talk Celsius.
I hate the cold, so...
You can hear the cold. You can hear the cold and be in Georgia. Who said you?
No, Georgia is one of the states that don't really get like the New Yorks and up north. You know, so it's not too bad, but I just don't like the cold.
But Maylee, that weather report, that was like Dwight York's Malta Carib advertisement there with that Fahrenheit business. We ain't send you there for that, Maylee.
I don't deal with degrees, okay? I got an American degree, okay? So I'm dealing with degrees over there.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be part of this program.
I had to be the bigger person and put aside a lot of angst and anger after you tried to kill me going up Chancellor a couple of times and still decide to have you on the show, but that's me.
I hope you come back and finish your job, Maylee. Maylee, tell us, what do women footballers want, Maylee? What do women footballers want? We're trying to select a coach. We always hear that is different to coach women than men. Any truth to that? What do you say?
Wait, repeat what you just said.
We've heard it said several times that it's different to coach a women's team than a men's team. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, it's just the psychological makeup of a woman. You just need to understand that, and I think you'll be just fine, you know. And if you don't, you stay far from a women's team. And that's one of the biggest issues, because football is football, right? We play in the same sport.
I'll let Barney take that. Yeah.
A men coach could come and implement the same system he coach a men team really well with a women's team, but he just need to understand how women operate and treat them accordingly, and that's the only difference.
Maylee.
Yes, sir.
It's mission impossible. You just get a man there and understand women. I'm married and still trying to figure out how that is working. You tell me understand
So it's like
women.
one of the biggest things, right? With females.
Yes, help us out.
Please.
We like to ask why. Like, why are we doing this? Why is it like that? Why? Right? Mm-hmm. And some men take that as, disrespect. So, it's just things like that. Obviously, you have that time of the month, you need to understand women are moody. Mm-hmm. The way you may speak to guys, you can't come and speak to women the way that you approach men. So it's just
give us an example. We need examples here. What could we say to a male footballer that we really, really shouldn't say to a women's footballer?
No, it's just the approach and the way, the manner in which you say things. Mm-hmm. For instance, we've had men coaches who probably never coach a female team, and they came in and you would swear they speaking to the men on the block, you know, and it's just in their approach, they just do not know. And it comes off to us like they don't care. They're just here for a payday, and that's it.
So it's
So
like
it's
they
just-
speak rough, like how?
For me, you know, I grew up with guys, so it's not really, you know, I could roll with the
Well,
punches,
that's why I
right?
say it, because I
Everyone-
know you. So
Right. Not everyone is the same, right? So it's just pretty much that. So the way he may speak to me and the way he speak to a guy may be the same, but it have certain players cannot function under those type of that manner, screaming and trust me, I've seen the worst of it, you know, and those are just men who do not understand the psychological makeup or the psyche of a woman.
in your position as captain, have you ever had to go to a coach and tell him, listen, coach, same thing you explained just now, you know, you could handle it, but some of the other girls, you know, they can't handle that kind of discussion, that kind of way, you know, the way you approach them, the way how you hand out your instructions, that kind of thing. You ever had to do that?
That'll be ladies,
Not-
by the way, Shepherd.
Sorry, ladies.
No, not as a player, but as a manager.
You know, the thing about it, where you said first that, you know, ladies like to ask, you see I get right this time, and
Yeah,
ladies,
ladies,
right?
right.
Ladies like to ask why, right?
Right.
I would find that is something I wish some of the male players ask, because why gives the coach an opportunity to explain,
Right.
you know,
Correct.
to explain whatever it is, be it the system, be it why we doing this exercise, be it anything. It allows that transfer of knowledge, which is what coaching is about. So I find it strange that a coach would see that as a problem. You sure it's not anything else besides that?
Yeah, what happens, right? Especially, you know, we've had a lot of local coaches that coached us, and I think what they don't get, especially with my group of players, we are not just playing football for playing for fun, right? This is our passion. This is our, you know, bread and butter. This is what we love and what we know. This is all we know, football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when on weekends when we watch the Premier League, we watch it as a fan, yeah, but we also watch it to learn and to break down different moments in the game and watch it as a coach as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of those coaches don't see us like that, like students of the game. And so when we see a coach telling us play a flat back four and one ball beating all of us, we were like, coach, why you want to play a flat back four like this? You understand? And then sometimes the coach not even himself knowing why he playing a flat back four. I remember playing for a coach and we playing a flat back four in a tournament and one ball keep beating our back four every single time. And we asking him, could we go back to how we accustomed or we know how to play a back four? Because just one ball keeps beating us. And you know what he said to us? Well, Germany men team does play like that. How could that be your response as a coach, right?
Did the coach
So-
do an internship with the German national team or something?
Well, and we are not German men's team. We are a female team, you know, and we don't have those type of players. So these are the things. So when we question those things, coaches take it as us being rude, disrespectful, or trying to do his job. You know what I'm saying? So when things don't make sense to us as females, we question it.
As interim vice president of the Coaches Association of Trinidad and Tobago, we will be erasing this part of it. But that problem exists with foreign coaches as well, because that's what I'm hearing is more a human thing than you know, a local coach problem. That because I know of other coaches, I could put up my hand that I would welcome that sort of, interrogation, because the thing about coaching is that players, and you will tell me if you agree or disagree, players tend to try to work out whether this coach know what he doing or if he bluffing. And when a coach gets an opportunity like that, I think it's an opportunity to show dialogue, exchange ideas with the players, and they realize, all right, he knows what he's doing, and you can explain, for example, listen, we could play this flat back four, but what has to happen is somebody has to be pressuring the ball, and if we don't pressure the ball, we drop off, or some kind of something like that now. But that conversation would bring about a resolution in itself.
Yeah, you're quite correct, Sheppy. I think you have to realize over the years, a lot of times they put coaches in these positions that shouldn't be, right? They can't explain themselves, they can't break it down in the simplest form for players who not as tactically smart as some, and the programs continue to be deprived of good coaching. And that's it. We continue to be deprived of good coaching, because when it's different, again, it's different coaching big hardback strong men who already know the game compared to young boys who you're developing. Right? So the way you could just set up a drill and let the older men do what they have to do, you have to break it down in the simplest form for a 12, 13, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, and if you can do that as a coach, it takes away from the development of a player.
And, both of you do coaching courses and so on. Is that part of the courses that, in terms of how to communicate and to explain stuff to players?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's a crucial part of coaching. Coaching, again, as I keep saying all the time, coaching is teaching. And if you cannot be a teacher and cannot communicate, so communication is a big part of coaching. And I'm not just talking about, again, not just the tactics, but anything is communication, not just by verbal, but by your body language, by everything. Maylee, seeing that you identified that as an issue, and I jump in the gun here, but do you think that when you decide to hang up your boots, because I think you really hang it up yet, but do you think
That'll be another question?
Yeah, that coming for sure. Do you think that you would be looking to throw your hat in the ring as far as coaching goes, wanting to coach a Trinidad women's team, maybe at a youth level, up all the way up to senior?
I'm working on my patience. As a coach, you have to have a lot of patience, right? But
you never saw Barney at the sidelines, Maylee, but go ahead.
I'm definitely working on that.
Pick your angry Smurf, but go ahead, Maylee. I don't want to slow it down. But pick your angry Smurf for Barney. Go ahead.
I haven't, a lot of people, really advise me to go into that direction. At this point in time, as you said, I haven't hung up my boots, and that competitive nature in me to still play, I think it takes away from me having that passion to want to coach. Right? At this moment, I'm a community coach at a high school, a private high school over here. But I was the assistant coach at Young Harris College in 2017. And that transition wasn't easy because, again, that competitive nature and dealing with players who you think should have already been at a certain level playing at the NCAA division or NCAA level, you think they should be way more developed. So you really have to have that patience going into coaching. It's not an easy job. And you have to be 100% passionate about that job because it's a very critical and important role being a coach. Again, you said first role of a coach is being a teacher, and not a teacher only on the field, but off the field as well. Help build young boys or young girls' character, everything. So you really have to be fully engaged and committed to being a coach when you get into that arena. So I want to be able to have that passion and be 100% committed to just coaching when I get into that. Because I'm very competitive, so I don't want to go into a situation where, I'm half-hearted and then the result doesn't show, So for me, I'm still passionate about playing. And coaching, I think coaching is something that I would probably sooner or later down the road be involved in, or some part of the game, whether it's management or coaching.
Okay, but speaking about playing, Maylee, are you playing right now at all? Or let's say, how do you get yourself back into the player pool, for instance? You'd come down here to play in the Wolf League, or how would that work?
For me, well, at this moment, there's a fairly young league right under the WPSL, the UWS, and Atlanta will be bringing out a team for this season.
Okay.
So they asked me to be part of the setup. There's also a team in Florida that wants me to be part of the same UWS. So just for me to decide on where I want to play and get back into the thick of things.
So you be chasing Barney up Chancellor just now again then?
Who went up Chancellor? Is she? Mad. Not me.
It all depends.
Not me. I ain't making that mistake twice. Mad.
You spoke about your group of players being special before. I take it to mean the 2015 campaign, that group, right?
Right.
What do you think makes that group different to, let's say, the group in the 2011 campaign? What was it that you girls had? You ladies had?
A lot of people, beat me up for this, but I would say that coaching, the difference in coaching, the professionalism, that Coach Randy brought, and just a whole different perspective he brought to the game that we've never been exposed to, and it helped. And then when he did what he did, even though we didn't win against America, I guess it opened the eyes the federation, and they decided to send in a psychologist, and everyone started to come on board after that. Even though we didn't win, they just saw something in us, and having that setup and the way it was set up, I think made a huge difference. I think the coaching aspect of it, because we've been together since we were 14, most of us, so it took us so long, and I think we could have done it way before that 2015 campaign, but again, due to certain circumstances beyond our control, we weren't able to do it before then. So yeah, I would say coaching.
When you say the coaching, go into a little detail, but what made Coach Randy Waldrum, what made him different? Was it his tactical knowledge? Was it his approach that you pointed out before? What was it? Was it, the atmosphere that he created? What was it?
He was a consummate professional. He didn't come with no ego. He saw how our ability, our talent, and believed that he was able to take us to that next level. Before games and everything, he would literally break down the strengths, the weaknesses of every player or the top players on every team that we played beforehand, and that never happened before. When we have to go through set pieces or whatever we need to do during the game, it's all done on a screen where his son will tell us you have to go there, you're calling your name and letting you know where you have to go, and you're seeing this visually on a board. Just the technological aspect of the game he brought and made it different for us because we have never experienced that. And that, look, we've been playing football since 14 and never been exposed to something like that. And the way that they broke down the game, broke down and assessed each player on every team or the 11, it was amazing to us, and it helped us tremendously. His attention to details was second to none, and that helped us a lot. And the one thing, again, I said he came there with no ego. He would approach us, or approach a couple of the senior players and ask their opinion or perspective on certain situations. Like, for instance, I remember one of the games, he's like, after we already beat Haiti, we draw with the US. Now all we have to do is win or probably draw against Guatemala. And he's like, I don't think I'm going to start this player because she's not doing what I want her to do. Right? What you think? And those things, it have coaches before would ask your opinion, but do they take it? They just, or throw it away or leave it, And I was like, Coach, man, hear this. We have a great momentum going right now. I think this is not the time to do that, right? And then times when you see the players on the board, he left the player, let her play, and say if she doesn't do what you want her to do, you take her off. But I just don't think so. I just think he took everyone's perspective at heart and decide whether if it was better than his own, he would go with it, or if not, he go with whatever decision he has to make. Also, the final game, he's like, this is the starting team. He called the senior players. He would call and say, "This is the starting team for tomorrow." And then
well, it's 6 years old, Maylee. You could call names and thing now, but go ahead.
He comes back and say, "You know what? I'm going to start this player instead." I was like, "Coach, whatever decision you make, we all for it. Let's go." You know what I'm saying? So things like that, you could only respect. And one of the biggest things we respect Randy Waldrum for is that he stood up for us without fear of contradiction. And when a coach value his players, they'll go out there and die for him on a football field. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the main things. We went out there and play not only for our country and for the program, but for him, because he stood up for us when no one else did.
Mm-hmm. Barney, what do you think about the democratic selection of the team? That's usual at all?
Well, every coach has his or her own style. I'm listening to Maylee there, and Coach Waldrum obviously had an inclusive approach with the ladies. That may have worked with that group. It may not work with another group. He may tweak it. And there's coaching is your experience that you bring to each situation. So it worked for Maylee and they. Because from what I'm hearing from Maylee, the group bought into supporting Coach Waldrum. What I will point, though, it is not necessarily an even playing field in comparing a local coach doing that. Our association has a way of rolling out the red carpet for foreign coaches and tying the hands of local coaches. So the technology. Well, I'm not going to explain the technology.
There's the why right there from Maylee.
Yeah.
That's for the example.
Yeah.
The technology. No, so
understand.
Don't let Barney get away with anything, Maylee.
No. I just going to point out. I going to point out one thing. So the technology that Coach Waldron brought to the table with you guys, Coach Waldron came from the US, would have had access to scouts and his network that he would have built, right? His formal and informal network with other coaches, because Randy Waldrum is a well-traveled coach in the US. So he would have been able to get that information on the other teams. He would have done his homework. Kudos to him. Not taking anything away from him there. But a coach from Trinidad trying to do the same would have to rely on the association. And therein is where the problem would happen for a local coach in that instance. Now, I'm only pointing out that the other things that you spoke about, I can't speak about. That is your experience with him. And I, in total agreement with what you said about that. But I'm just looking, when you were talking about it, I was thinking about, if I was in the same position, would I have that information? Because I love technology. Lasana, not so much, but Lasana could tell you that when I am doing work, I like to do those things.
Which one is Barney and which one is...
that Birdie over there, the intelligent one is Barney. The intelligent one is Barney.
Keep your guessing, Mary.
The intelligent one is Barney, me.
Chappie, come on. We have the internet, right? So you're talking about technology and breaking down games and assessing.
No, not the breaking down the games, Anybody could do that. What I'm talking about, is the information to put together those things in a timely state and with all the information that you need on players. So, like, for example, I just speaking arbitrarily here, but if I am coaching you and we're playing against the US, for example, we're playing against Canada, and they are one of the players on the left side is one of the stronger players. I would like to know, for example, all right, she left-footed. What happens? Can I see games when we put her on her right foot, when we force her inside? What happens? What does she do? How does her decision-making work then? Those sort of things, those details, I am sure Coach Waldrum, because again of his network, he could tap into not just those things you wouldn't just pick up on the internet, but those things I could call this other coach that I know from Canada and this one and that one and get that information. And there's nothing wrong with that. I salute him on that. That is being thorough and that is being detailed. A local coach in Trinidad trying to get the same details would have to rely on support from the association to get some of that information, and that won't be forthcoming. We know that. So I'm not taking away anything from Coach Waldrum. I am backing what you're saying. I'm just saying that in some instances, it is not a level playing field. That's what I would say.
I just think that some of the coaches are not how to say?
Technologically savvy?
Oh, well, yeah, we don't even need to go into that concern.
You don't have to dress it up, Maylee.
It's like, for instance...
Hit him right between the eyes, Maylee. Right between the eyes.
For instance, I remember playing for a coach, right?
Watch now. It have exemptions. I think nobody can come for you. You'll call names. Nobody can come for you.
Let me tell you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming the day of the game to tell me he thinks I am hurting, so he will not start me today.
Mm-hmm.
Not once he went to the doctor, to the physio, to myself and say, Maylee, could you give me 5 minutes or could you give me 90 minutes? But you're telling me I look like I am hurting.
Yeah, but good eye.
That I think that is crazy to me.
Coach's eye. Coaches always have an eye.
Right?
You check the GPS.
That is crazy to me. So come and tell me the real reason why or why you're not playing me, because that is not a good reason to just watch me and say you hurting, so yeah. You didn't have asked me a question.
You wasn't smiling, Maylee. You need to smile.
He didn't ask me the why. He didn't ask me the why you're limping or why you look like you're hurting. Nothing of the sort. So it just, trust me, it's a huge difference. And I feel it for me, they always say that, the white man and you all play hard. And it has nothing to do with that, because it have no coach in Trinidad and Tobago or no coach who I've ever played for could say I ever shortchange them when I ever go on a football field. You understand what I'm saying? So it has nothing to do with white, black, or he's foreign or what. Once I'm on football field, I'm telling you, I will give everything that I have on a football field. So don't come and tell me about, oh, you just give more to this one. No, it's just the way you approach your professionalism, and you know, I don't know. It's just a huge gap. It's a huge gap.
Well, mainly we're going to come back to that 2015 campaign, I assure you. But let's go a little bit further back now into your own background in football. Tell us how you got started in this game in the first place, what your development was like as a player. Where did it start?
Where did it start? For me, I attended St. Agnes Anglican Primary School.
Right by my
And
house.
it all, yeah, it all started there. I first started with track and field,
Okay.
and then
I would not have thought it, but go ahead.
after. Yes, I used to light the stadium on fire
Yeah,
until
sprinter or longer distance?
everything,
Okay.
long jump, everything.
Okay.
And I track and field was just like on in summer times, your family going on long vacations, and you have to literally go and train every single day for track, and that was it. But with the football, Mr. Batiste, mentor Batiste, he was a teacher at St. Agnes, and Mr. Tomasas, and they just took us one time to. Mr. Tomasas was our PE teacher, and they took us to Mandela Park, Mandela Park.
Georgie Fifth at that point, I assume.
Yes. Right. And I just started to play, and from there, I played with the boys team. Was the best player on the team at that.
Was there a girls team, or was it just one team?
No. Around that time, it wasn't any girls team. So I played with the boys from 10, 11, and we played in the infirmary, which is where we call the poorhouse in St. James, and against the Mokrapo boys, St. Crispin's, Cocorite, so that is where I started, in the poorhouse. It was great memories back then, playing playing with the boys.
And after primary school, what was the next step?
So from there, Mr. Hope, God bless his soul, he was part of our cookery team, and he saw me playing, and he's like, yeah, come and play with this team. And I played in the Savannah League with them, and then he took me. I was 13 or 14 when I first started to play with females, and he took me out to Caridoc Stingrays at the time, one of the best women's club or team to ever play in Trinidad and Tobago. And from there, I was introduced to Jamal Shabazz and the national team.
Okay.
And, the rest is history.
So that was at age 14, you went under the wings of Jamal Shabazz?
Right. And Jamal and Caridoc under Rashid. He passed away, but yeah.
Who used to work TSCT?
Tutelage. Huh?
Oh, no, all right.
One question. in your games before, between 11 to 14, you ever came up against another team that had a girls player? You ever saw, or was it strictly boys?
In primary school, they literally banned me from playing in the Savannah League. There was like no girls allowed.
Wow. How did you respond to that? What did you think of that?
No, I was pretty good, so I'm assuming they thought I was too good to play there. I played in the Flagstaff used to be PSA ground.
PSA, yeah.
PSA, right. MVP, everything there in primary school. Playing against the likes of Nelson Street boys. Played against Akim, all of them. So, it was fun times with my development, you know. But I don't think I came up. I don't think I came up against any girls.
Okay, because I remember seeing yourself and Tasha St. Louis at around that time, I guess, when you would have been around
Right.
14 or something. And,
We played at Carry Ducks together. We played. We grew up playing with Carry Ducks and into the national team.
and assuming Tasha would have a similar story, she was really, really good. I mean, at that age, Tasha was
Yes,
swinging in corner kicks and that
Correct.
a lot of boys her
Tasha.
age couldn't do. Her technique was that good.
Correct. Correct.
But in terms of that development, because I think even now you have, let's see, the Republic Bank Youth League, for instance, and so on, and the Eddie Hart League. I don't think any of them had any girls allowed or had any girls teams per se, you know.
Yeah, well, at a point in time, the Republic Bank, I played once in Republic Bank
But with a boys team,
league.
but with a boys
No,
team,
with
a
that
girls team.
girls. Yeah,
Okay.
that girls. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they haven't had that for a while either, you know. I'd like to hear more in terms of well, how girls, what are we doing really to develop footballers at that age in Trinidad?
Nope.
There seem to be so many opportunities for boys to get started and not the
Right.
same for girls, you know.
The thing about it, listening to Maylee and Maylee's story, you will hear Maylee's story echoed in a number of the women who are in the same squad that she was on. It basically follows the road of playing with boys, playing with men, and developing yourself there to a certain point, and then you get you join other girls. But
Yeah.
do you think, I think what Lasana wanted to ask is do you think we are on the right road for female development now, or even in your case?
Or in fact, is it better or is it worse? You could even probably start there.
It's tough, you know. The lack of development is excruciating, you know, because for many years we have neglected to invest in any developmental program, you know, and today we are suffering the consequences of it. And it need to be restructured from ground up. Primary school, you know, it is the level of play. And then too, at that level, you don't have true coaching taking place, right? So, for instance, I've when I was back home some years ago, I used to follow St. Agnes, right? And I used to, look around and observe what was happening, and you see that coaches were just focused on winning, literally just winning. So you would take the standard 4s and standard 5s and play them all the time. So standard 1, 2, and 3 are being neglected because there's no U10s, U9 program at primary school level. Is either U12 or U15. Just imagine having a U15 program in primary school. That's not making any sense, right? It's not making absolutely no sense. And I remember speaking to the president, Mr. Johnson, nice guy. But again, it's sad the way it's set up, because again, the standard 1, 2, and 3, there's nothing is in place for them to develop. Because why? When season come, they're not getting to play because the coaches rather go with the bigger boys to get a result. And then they're taking those same U12 players and playing them U15. You understand what it is I'm saying to you? They're taking those same U12 players and playing them U15 in primary school.
Maylee, I think we could all agree that Trinidad and Tobago has no
Foresight,
idea
no,
of development,
none.
or we have no real desire to properly put in place a developmental structure.
Correct.
What you're saying there is the same things that I have seen at on the boys' side in even in secondary schools, how we go about things, even in the tournaments, the Republic Banks and all this stuff. But I remember you said that you were looking around at St. Agnes. I remember you doing more than that. I remember, if the boy's name comes to me, Theo, I think.
Yeah, Theo,
Right.
yeah.
That's actually
About
first
in
time.
general.
Yeah, first time outside of the national structure that I really saw you and took notice of you. The what's the correct word? The energy and the effort you put into trying to to get this boy, who was obviously talented, to
Right.
develop his talents. The support that I saw you coming at games, I actually thought it was your son at a point in time. So tell us something about you passing on. What was the desire there? Was it to you saw an opportunity to help somebody? What was it?
Well, for me, I understand the importance of sports and what football did for me. The opportunity it created, and I know how it, it is very emotional for me, for the mere reason that I grew up in the ghetto, and the odds were against me, and I used football as a vehicle to gain betterment. And seeing someone like young Theo with that talent and understanding of the game, it drove me to outside of me being an alumni of St. Agnes, and the love that I have for St. Agnes, for what they give to me, I just want to be able to give back and to players, or to young men and young women who, in love with the game, and just to show them and let them understand that this little ball that you're seeing, that you're kicking and running around with, that you love, could take you places you never dream of, take you out of situations that you think you can't get out of, and for me, that is really imperative to me.
Tell us a little bit about those achievements, Maylee. You might think it's boastful, but in truth, what you'll be doing is you'll be telling players what they could target, what they could aim to achieve. So tell us where football took you and what it got for you.
Oh man, around the world. It took me around the world, right? Places that I never dreamt of. I learned about life with a ball at my feet. That's all I ever known is football, right? Um, and without it, I really can't say where I would be today.
And it helped in
For
terms
me,
of your U.S. education, and you went to school in the States as well?
correct. I'm now going to touch on that. I was someone that failed common entrance, right? I honestly believe that the system failed me, and I disliked school after that. And then I got an opportunity, God sent an angel in Derek Arno, and I got an opportunity to finish my 12th grade, 1 year of 12th grade in the United States. And I took that opportunity and never looked back. I graduated from high school, got a scholarship to go college, and graduated from university with a bachelor's degree in sports management. And I'm here now.
What university was that?
Kennesaw State University
Okay, excellent.
in Georgia.
But mainly things like this, you supposed to be look. I know you, and look, I now find out this about you. I just thought you just wanted to kill me all the time. I didn't realize that,
You gotta walk around with the college shirt a little bit more, Maylee.
Mainly, and I'm being serious here.
In all my football or all my success, one of my biggest accomplishment was graduating from college, after failing common entrance and being able to have a bachelor's degree in sports management. It just shows that, you put your mind to anything, you could accomplish it.
Yeah, and this is what I'm about to say. This is something that you're supposed to be trumpeting. I had to come here today to find out about this. This is something as soon as you Maylee, no, I'm being serious now. You are a former national captain with this sort of story. You're supposed to be talking in schools, going back to schools, going to what we call hotspots and talking to people.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I've done
yeah.
it in some places. I've done it before, but I'm not always home, so it's kind of difficult.
Merely to be fair to you, if Barney is a couple hundred meters behind you and Chancellor, how is he going to hear this story, Merely? You have to go a little bit slower for him, maybe.
I really don't know.
Foot, all kind of thing until he started running like home.
Hey, Maylee, let me stay with the thing now. don't go down the avenue with this fella.
No, Maylee, I wonder though, right? And the difference with the men's and the women's team, where the women seem to be always more open to articulate views and so on. Now, I don't know if that might just be because of yourself, maybe. I think probably you were the one articulated views all the time. But I always wondered if, because the women's players, they always generally try to get a scholarship in the States. So generally speaking, you have people with that sort of educational background, whereas the men's footballers oftentimes look to head to a professional contract as soon as they can. I always wondered if that was part of the difference in terms of the way you all weren't afraid of the media and sharing your views, let's say.
Well, I'm not sure why guys do not like to speak out, because not to say they get the best or the greatest of treatments as well. I think some of them try to protect themselves. Because when you speak truth to power, what happens? I am a prime example of what happens when you speak truth to power. And I'm okay with that. I know what I have given to the women's program, the sacrifices that I made to represent Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm good with that. It's just unfortunate that when you do speak up and speak up for justice, for simple things that is needed for us to be successful, because we are being treated poorly, you get blacklisted, or they look at you in a certain way, so certain things you can't be part of. So it's tough. So I understand why, especially on the men's team, because in order to play in certain leagues, you have to have certain amount of caps. And that's what the teams out there look at. For us women, maybe now, but back in the day, school was the route. School was what you it didn't have much for women in the women's game where you could make a living off of it like the men's. So they had to protect themselves from being blacklisted. Now you see someone like Joven and they're speaking up, because why? They're coming down to the end of their career. They don't really business what you all do now, because they already enjoy a decent career in their minds, so they could speak up now. So I think it just weighs on, because of what is needed in the men's game is different from the women's game.
Changing the focus a little bit, maybe. What is... I have an idea, but I'm not Maylee Attin-Johnson.
Thank God.
Yeah, the world grateful for that too. Yeah, I think Cheryl better look at that.
just a little.
Just a little. Yeah. What is your proudest moment in a Trinidad and Tobago shirt?
Proudest moment, obviously that run we made in 2014.
Is there any one game, one particular moment that stands out among the others?
I would say probably the Haiti game, due to the fact that we were down 10 players for a very long time in that game. And we fought like lions, we fought until that final whistle. And we knew once we beat Haiti, we would have taken care of business against Guatemala. And, just the way we fought in that game was outstanding. You have young, forgot the goalkeeper that came in for Palmer. You had Palmer come in for Kamika, and she was awesome, and just to see that everybody gave everything they had in that game to come out with a victory, it was amazing. And just that entire run, the way that we changed the perspective and views of people when it comes to women's football in our country.
Now, we were Caribbean champs in that period, of course, Now, Haiti has would you say, gone past us in the women's game, and then is Jamaica just went to Women's World Cup? How do you feel looking in the Caribbean now and seeing, us no longer at that pinnacle where we were when you were playing?
Well, if we getting beaten by St. Kitts, we just become the laughing stock of the Caribbean. No disrespect to St. Kitts, because they were always over the years, St. Kitts have always been that one team that kept improving. But to me, I didn't believe they improved that much to where they blow us out 4-1 or something like that. But again, it goes back to putting coaches in positions that do not belong there. It's simple as.
You think it has more to do with coaches as opposed to our player pool also?
Nope. Look, for instance, right? Why it is in that under 20 tournament we had back home, we went up against all those teams in our group every single game. The talent is there. I guarantee you the talent is there. How you hone and harness that talent and prepare that talent is a whole different ball game. You understand what I'm saying? Especially in that St. Kitts tournament. Again, when you don't pick your best players, that is what's going to happen. When you allow people who have never kicked a lime in their life or shed an ounce of blood, sweat, or tears for their country, demand you not to pick certain players, you failed as a coach already. So it was doomed from the start.
I feel you're referring to somebody in particular, Maylee.
No, well, the coach in that tournament was whom?
That would be Mr. Defoe?
Correct.
Which players were blacklisted?
And one or two coaches who came after. So
do you know any of the blacklisted players, Maylee?
Excuse?
Do you know any of the blacklisted players?
I know myself.
You sure? No. Are you on talking terms? You and yourself.
Yeah, Mullins and they, When you see, come on, we done already, as you said, the pool of players is already so small. Right? And then you have a coach that comes in and decides, you know what? These players, I am not picking. What is the reason why he didn't pick his best players? Those are the questions that need to be asked when you don't see the players who give their blood, heart, and soul to the country. And then you come to a tournament and you're not seeing one or two of them or three of them. These are the questions the media, when interviewing these men, needs to ask. And you all don't.
So, wait now.
Go back on Barney.
Hold on. So media mogul here didn't ask those questions?
Apparently not.
Nah, man, maybe we have put the man in place now, man. The media is very weak.
And I could never respect that. I can respect those coaches who come in and allow a president or whomever to dictate who you pick on a national. There's a national team. You are representing 1.5 million people, and you want to come in there and decide who should or shouldn't be on a national team because of a president who don't like the players. No, it's that's very unfortunate.
Well, history tends to repeat itself, so
Correct.
we may go down that road at some point in time again.
I'm sure
I'm hoping that this time around.
but the programs will continue to suffer.
Yeah, but well, yes, they will, and the media has an important role. So I'm hoping that the media.
I'm nobody not talking about myself.
I hope the media does its job.
This isn't a bootleg fearless one over here. You know, is it?
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Maylee, going back now to that happier time, the 2015 campaign. I believe Mr. Waldrum came here just before the Caribbean leg. That's correct?
Just before.
All right. Talk to me about in terms of the team chemistry. I remember for that tournament, you had a little heart scare or something like that. Everybody was getting to know each other, really, between the coaches and the players. In fact, I believe Waldrum's son came first, right? Ben and Randy missed the first game, something like that.
I believe so, yeah.
What was that period like anyway, at the start? Did you all, was it love at first sight or did it take a little while to work each other out?
With Randy and they? You have to remember Randy came years ago before that, right?
True, okay.
So he knew some of the players. He coached Mariah Shade and they at the tournament back home.
But did he coach you?
No, he never coached me. No.
Oh, okay.
No. No. But I mean, the I would say it was tough for the fact that they just got rid of Marlon. And when that happens, you have a group of players who is in support of the move and you have a group of players who's not in support. So it had that tension. But it never spilled out on the field. So that is why I said when they brought in the psychologist, Dr. Motley, Margaret Motley, Utley. Dr. Margaret Utley.
But that would have been in the CONCACAF stage, but go on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So she did a very good job of bringing us together. But at that first period, it had a little bit of tension due to the fact that a group was in support of the move and a group wasn't in support of the move. So Coach Randy had was to come in and, make sure that we all on the same page and we have the same goals and aspirations. And, again, it didn't spill out over on the field. And that was a nice tournament to win. So we fought really hard against Jamaica to win that game and become the champions.
No, I remember there were two bits of friction with the FA. I think one would have been, you all had a camp in Petrotrin. Was that before the CONCACAF tournament? Or that was before the playoff?
Just try to forget these things. So I don't
he like a horror movie.
You're on the couch right now, Maylee.
No, well, I'm just not sure if it was before or after. So you would know better because you brought it up.
We're visiting memories right now, Maylee.
I don't forget about that.
Ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah, you might forget it, maybe, but we have to bring it back up for you.
But so in Petrotrin, I remember in Petrotrin, Randy Waldrum had put a tweet out or something like that, I think criticizing the facilities. And he was, asked, I guess, to apologize, which he did, And then, of course, we had the more famous one when, the women's team went to the States for the tournament. There was no funding there. There wasn't even money for breakfast on the next day, I understand. And Randy put out a message asking for well-wishers to help the team. And I mean, that one sparked a storm.
Yeah, Mr. Tipke wasn't having it.
Tell me about everything that was going on there behind the scenes at that point in time, and what were the players making of all of this sudden attention?
Well, for us, we saw it as our coach standing up for us. You know, I was in there initially because I got my visa late, so I went up the next day, I believe.
Yeah, and I remember asking you, and you said that this happens all the time. That was something like that you had said.
You see? How you remember all this? But anyway, so yeah, when we went over there, I mean, it was nothing but love. It was nothing but love from every corner of Houston or Dallas or wherever it was, you know. And then, you know, it had a GoFundMe page where Coach Randy raised a lot of money, which the players received. But with just so many things that they sent where, you know, time to leave to go to the tournament that, you know, we had to give away things. That's how much things we got.
Yeah, and so how did that, in terms of the togetherness, because you spoke about different little rifts before, was that something that kind of united the team? And what was the relationship like between the
definitely brought us
FA?
a bit closer. It definitely brought us a bit closer, and you know, it definitely brought us a bit closer because you know, we understood. I think that was a slap in the face to not send the team with any kind of money. So we were just rallying behind Coach Randy for the most part, you know. We were just rallying behind him, supporting him, and you know, we weren't getting sidetracked or by those disturbances. We had a goal at hand, which was to qualify, and that never changed. That never changed throughout that whole scenario.
So it was like you all had a siege mentality going on. It was like you all and Coach Randy versus the rest of the world. Trinidad, you felt that the FA had left you out on a limb.
This never happened to us before, you know. All these times, coaches accepted whatever the federation gave, provided or didn't provide. And we have this guy, this coach coming in and, you know, standing up without fear of contradiction. He was done doing it for free, so you're gonna fire him. So it was just like, you know, just standing up behind someone who we respected, and that's it.
In a weird way, with the response to that message from Randy Waldrum, did that make the women players feel like, you know, yeah, actually we do deserve better than we've been getting, and yes, we are more special than our FA thinks we are? Was that the thing?
I told them that a long time. I remember when Sheldon Phillips first came on board as the general secretary, and I told him, I said, Sheldon, you all need to put everything behind the women's program. I said the quickest way to a World Cup is through the women's program, right? And I told him all the reasons why. I said over the years we always come to it in a group because we be in place with either America and Mexico or Canada and Mexico. And now one of them is out of the group, which was Canada. So we have a very good chance of going through to the next round and either getting that playoff spot and whatnot. So I broke it down, all the reasons why. And, you know, why can't we not be the flagship team? Because they came into a meeting with us and told us the men are the flagship team and this, that, and the other. And, you know, I let them know what I think and how I see things. And yeah, so I told them that a long time through the women's game, and I always told the players that the greatest way to give up power is not knowing that you have it, and we have all the power. We have all the power as players to stand up together. If we don't play, football cannot continue the way they're treating us. You understand? So, but again, a lot of players, you know, fearful, not strong enough to take certain stands, and That is, even in the men, the men and the women's game, that's how it is. You're gonna have a half bunch of players who ready to stay the course, and then a bunch of players who decide, boy, all on your own.
Now remember now for the trip to Ecuador. This time the women stood up for themselves, right? Was it that trip when you all said you're not going on the plane unless you get the per diem and so on?
No, I think that was for Pan American Games.
Pan American Games, okay. But that
I believe so.
Yeah.
American Games.
Mm-hmm. Now, once you all got to the Big Four, right, the semi-final round, we got to a stage where we needed one win out of, well, two then before the playoff.
Right.
What was the pressure like on the players, and how did you all deal with it?
Well, again, Dr. Utley, she did an amazing job helping us learn how to block out the noise, right? So we went into all those games confident that we could come out with a victory. Over the years, Mexico have beaten us, Costa Rica as well. And, we played against Costa Rica the first game, I believe, and we ended up losing on penalties. And this keeper knew again, you see how these countries conduct themselves. This keeper knew every player and where they like to hit the ball in a penalty.
That's proper
and that was
preparation.
it. That was the end of that game. That was literally the end of that game. We went into the Mexico game, same thing. Like, Coach Randy, he knew the American team really well, but he knew the Mexican team twice as good. We went down 1-0 against Mexico, and then at halftime, coach said, ladies, don't worry. He made certain adjustments. He said, if we do this, that, the other, we're going to go up 2-1.
You could tell us now,
we're going to score.
You could tell us now.
Excuse?
Mexico can't do anything with the information. What did he tell you all to do?
No, I don't forget 2014 long time.
Fair enough.
Stuff here, and just he said we're going to equalize. He literally said we're going to equalize and go up 2-1. So said, so done. Maybe 15 or 12 minutes into the game, we up 2-1. When we scored, I'm just holding my head because when we scored, I think Shade scored. And everybody, Tasha, they run on the field as though the game is over. And the worst or the most vulnerable time after when a goal is scored is after when you touch off. And that was it, the touch off. The touch off, go down the line, send the ball down the line, bring it over, boom, goal. So we were just emotionally drained when they equalized. And we ended up losing 4-2 in that game.
Yeah.
In
extra time.
Right?
Yeah, in extra time.
Yeah.
One more thing I remember about that Big Four. Mexico, when they played America, decided that they had no chance. So they rested the entire first team. And of course, Trinidad had a strong team against Costa Rica. So when the third place playoff came with you all against Mexico, Trinidad would have been a little bit more leg weary, whereas the Mexican team was fresher. What do you think about that, Barney, that strategy?
But what was the time in between the games? Was it different? Was the
Probably
like
2 or
the
3
time
days.
between the games, Maylee? You can remember?
Maybe two games in between. Two days in between.
Yeah, well, that can make a difference there because you're ideally want 72 hours between games to properly recover. So if Mexico is resting,
you have to understand the US have extreme depth in their team.
And we don't have that. We
right?
don't have that.
And we going in against Costa Rica. We thought we have a better chance against Costa Rica than we
Mexico.
did against Mexico,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So we going all out. We're not studying who have to rest and how much days and these things. We're going all out. You put your strongest team on the field and see who wins. What killed us as well in our Mexico game, Ria Belgrave wasn't able to play because of, I guess, I'm not sure if it was yellow cards. So she wasn't able to play the Mexico game.
Right.
Right?
That's one of the better
So that was
teams.
difficult. I mean, a lot of people, I think Rhea Belgrave and Erin King complements each other, and one without the other really do not look as good when they're together.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and then we have Ecuador. Now, I made that trip with you all. I remember, of course, going up in the altitude, and I mean, everything was against us, and yet we came out with a real hard-fought draw. You were excellent in that game, I must say. Talk about that challenge, the 2 legs against Ecuador, and how it played off.
Well, the weirdest thing for me, I didn't feel the difference that some of the players were feeling in terms of the altitude. I think Akila and Dasa, Akila and Yaya, who've been 2 of our best players in that tournament, they felt the altitude. It took a toll on them. It took a toll on a lot of the players, right? And we still managed to come out with a draw where most people say once you go in there, it's like death, right? You ain't sure to come out. You ain't sure to come out with a victory or even a point. And we did well enough to come out with a point, because when you think about it, we were the better team. We were the better team on paper, on field, but again, sometimes the better team don't always win. Yaya went up, scored a goal, and literally they called a foul for her on the keeper, and I think I was unfortunate, but we had our moments in that game, but not as much as leading up to in that tournament. The type of performances we had in that tournament, that first game, we did enough to come away with a point.
And then in Port of Spain, over 20,000, I think it was something like 22,000 people. Has to be a record for a local women's game,
Right.
What was the feeling before that game, all the euphoria and so on? How did it affect the team at all?
How did you sleep?
I mean, not at all, It didn't affect us. Again, we knew what winning this game would do for us in our careers, in our life, personal life, everything. That it changed a lot for us. So that was our main focus. We wanted to create history, be part of history. So we were just ready to play, I think the amount of time between the 2 games, it was too much, pretty much.
3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, it was just too much, right? And for us, I think one of the biggest thing that when in retrospect and when looking back was not being able to play any games leading up to that, where they were able to still, stay sharp and get a match fitness. And that was the biggest thing. When I say that, because we were able to go to the games. I forget what games you call that.
Was it it wasn't the Pan Am Games? Was it?
No, the one before that.
CAC. Was it?
CAC games, right? We were able to go to the CAC games, but the technical staff had a very difficult decision to make, whether to go to the games, because we had injured players. We had players who I've literally seen players had to take injection in their toe in order to play, so it was difficult. Do we go and play in that tournament and get some games in, or do we just come back home and they get 1 or 2? Because I was told that the general sec at the time would have gotten games against Venezuela for us, which never happened. So going into that game, we really didn't play much football in terms of being able to finish And that was our biggest problem in that game, finishing. The goal that scored on us was literally a ghost goal. No one touched that ball. I mean, when you watch it, I still see it. I still have nightmares about that, about that goal. I just watch it like, this goal really went in. You know, so I just think the preparation leading up to that one game, even though we were fit because we had a program for that, but the football aspect of the game, I don't care how much training you do with finishing and stuff. If you can't do it and replicate it in a game-like situation, time for the game time is going to be tough.
That's correct. Let me ask you something, Maylee. Halftime in that game, what was the feel in the dressing room? Did you start to feel the pressure of, it's 0-0 at home? If they score one, we'll be in trouble because on the away goals, even if you equalize, they would have gone through, right? So what was the feel?
Honestly speaking, I had no doubt that we're going to be this team because I truly believe we were the better team, right?
And
I
the
think
team,
defensively.
The entire team, the entire team felt shared that feeling at in the dressing room and everything.
Yeah, when they looked in the teammates' eyes, what did you see?
You saw that belief
that we could win.
Yeah,
but at no point we thought we would have lost this game. I'm telling you, because even when you when you think about it, how many chances they really created, right? We did well defensively to a point until that goal, until that foul and that moment. Football is about moments, and we fouled that player at the wrong time and at the wrong moment of the game, and they scored a ghost goal. Literally, just keeper came out and it went over Kamika's head with nobody touching it. So, for me, that game was really tough for me because when I asked myself, what more could I have done as a leader to come out victorious in that game? And I take that on me. That game, losing that game. What more could I have done? There's more that I could have done. Whatever it was, maybe, relinquish my responsibility in holding the midfield itself and not going too much forward and making sure the midfield is compact and solid and everything. Should I have go forward more? Like all these things I question when thinking about that.
And how did you, and by wider extension, the team, how the days after that game, how tough was it, and how did you, what was was there any support system to help you recover mentally from that disappointment?
Well, for me, I like to be by myself, right? So not much people could have said to me that would have made a difference in that moment and those following days. I took it to heart, and I just different from a lot of people. Some people may take go through it differently. They may go on the avenue and enjoy themselves, or you never know. So I can only speak for myself. I took it. It was heartbreaking for me. And I didn't do much. Days after, and I had a few nightmares as well.
It can't be as bad as working with Lasana, trust me. So whatever nightmare I had, it ain't that bad. But
yeah, but you have to understand, as a footballer, as a player, the main goal is to play in a World Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
You play football, so to end up in a World Cup, and it was right there. It was right there in our hands, and for whatever reason, we did. It was in our time.
Right. You want to play at the highest stage and on the highest level, and the World Cup is it. I understand that totally. But let me ask you this: I've heard you make mention of the work that Dr. Utley did leading up to the game.
Mm-hmm.
what was her role, if any, after the game? I know you said that you wanted to be by yourself, but do you know if the FA, employed, using that loosely, Miss Dr. Utley to work with the players to recover? Because that is the psychological effect.
I can't say if they did, but probably not. Probably not.
I don't know, because
but if I have to go off of how they operate, nope.
Yeah, that's sad, because that, as you said, that's the pinnacle for any player. That's where you want to be, it right there at your fingertips, and it didn't happen. And football,
we had players end up in the hospital, as I'm sure that was reported. So for this, you train your whole life. You dedicate your whole life, your whole career. You sacrifice blood, sweat, and tears, for this for this dream of playing in a World Cup. And, it was taken away by one goal. And, it's hard. It's anyone going through that would be hard to deal with, but it's how you bounce back from it.
How do we get Trinidad women's football back at that level where we at least being a nuisance to the top teams in CONCACAF, or pushing for World Cup spots ourselves? What do you think we need to do?
Before you answer that, let me put it another way for you. You, Maylee Attin-Johnson, you in charge of football, women's football, you have a blank slate. What do we do? What do we do to get Trinidad and Tobago, as Lasana asks, where it needs to be? Reach into a Women's World Cup.
We need to invest heavily in the developmental program, and from a young age straight up to the senior programs. If you're truly serious about sports, in order to compete with the best, you have to invest like the best, right? You have to invest like the best. So that is something that we lack in all sports and all facets of sports in Trinidad and Tobago, is the lack of investment in sports. And without it, there's not much we can really do. And for me, we have a great opportunity now, because CONCACAF has 4 automatic spots and 2 playoff spots. If I recall correctly.
I think you're correct. Mm-hmm.
Right, so that comes like 6, right? And come on, man, you telling me that we can be a top 6 team in CONCACAF?
Well, okay, resources always, finite, right? So let's say So let's say we had 1 million, right? To put somewhere right now. Where would you put it? Would you put it into widening the pool of players at youth level? Would you put it in the national senior team, to camps and so on for this tournament? How would you use it?
Or would you put it in now? Or would you put it in Barney's account? I'll give you the numbers now if you want. This million is US.
Honestly speaking, Lasana, when you think about that 2014 team, right?
Yeah.
Karen Forbes, Kamika Forbes, Victoria Swift, all these players, they now in 2021 are in their prime. Outside of myself, Akila Mullen,
Tasha St. Louis, yeah.
Tasha, these other players are in their prime. And then you have the young players like Afia Cornwall, the Prince, even the Prince that got the contract to go in Brazil. Those are good players.
This is
those
Denisha
are
Prince?
Players that contribute. Huh?
Denisha Prince?
Denisha Prince.
She's in Brazil now?
Well, she got a contract to go Brazil.
Okay.
Right? To play in the league in Brazil. These are good players that if a proper coach comes in, could make very good use of them, and they could contribute at a high level for the senior team.
Well, of course, a coach with the resources with the resources for
Exactly.
camps and games and
We still have the players to make a push for this campaign coming up here. This is 6 spots now, you know. Before it was 3.5. Now this is 6 spots.
so you're saying
6
fans,
spots.
you're saying we should get excited. We should be one last hurrah at least.
Yeah, well, you could only get excited if they put the right people in the right places. That's the only excitement you can get, because I'm telling you, if you go and put Ted from down the road to do the thing, it's not going to work.
You know,
Right?
you know, we were getting sponsored from a fella named Ted, and you know, you just go on and you go on and destroy the whole. Why you had to pick Ted? The whole thing.
I was going to ask if Barney have another nickname, Ted.
But listen, you're getting me excited about the football, talking about it like that. What Burdie was pointing out though is the resources in terms of to get to a World Cup, you need to invest not just in the coach, not just in the technical staff, but in the behind the scenes stuff. What you need, the roadmap, the games that you need to play, when you need to play them, the camps that you need to go on, the nutrition, the strength training, the everything that you need to do, because
You are
trust me,
correct.
those other teams doing that. So I'm saying this to say that even if they bring Pep Guardiola, best coach in the whole wide world,
Or somebody really good like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
if they bring Pep Guardiola to
correct.
coach the women, or the Pep Guardiola equivalent of women of women coaches, you still need the stuff behind the scene. Do you see us doing those things?
I agree with what you just said. I always say that the standard on the field is directly linked to the lack of preparation of the field. The decline in our football is as a result of the lack of, again, infrastructure, accountability, and professionalism. And are we willing to give up what we're doing now to do these things and put these things in place in order to see success on the field? Who knows? I don't know. I willing to do my part, but is everyone else in the position willing to do theirs?
And as you say that, your part is what? As a player, you think you have to be, Maylee, you have to be, let's be honest, you want to make that push with that team.
No, well, yeah, I started off the program with that, right? Earlier on in the past, I said, I still have a passion to play. I mean, representing a country for me is everything. And I'm going to be, how old I'm going to be? 35 this year? Or 34, one of those times? I won't. You can Google it.
Convenient.
It's going backwards there, Maylee.
Maylee Button.
Maylee have a reverse at age there going on. Benjamin Button.
Maylee Button.
Maylee Button.
Maylee Button.
Me, it's all about, preparation, doing the right things to be ready. If that is the route that, I wanna go, which is to play. So I will always be ready. I will never go on a football field and embarrass myself. I know the time, when the time comes for when I have to give it up. I want people to judge me by my performance and not by my age. So I will make sure and do the necessary things that would prepare me to play an international game.
Yeah,
And
well,
be part of a national team setup.
yeah, well, I could speak, I could speak to that, having escaped your attempts to murder me. And then seeing you trying to kill Kai Phillip, going up Chancellor morning after morning, I realized that then and there I knew that you had to be you still had that's unfinished business for you. And
Right.
I applaud that. Karen is another one that, I really wish that you all could get the right support and structures in place, because I think that squad is a very talented squad. Is at the end, you're closer to the end than the start. But
Right.
it would be great if,
Hey.
the resources, and I keep harping on this because the man on the street tends to think that the players who go out, well, that is it. And they don't understand the part that administration and structure plays in getting any program to its final destination.
Correct.
So I'm hoping, those things fall in place for you. Maylee, were you aware or did you read and listen to the conversation that took place between the captain of the Jamaica men's national team and their administration when they were negotiating for
Match
fees?
I think that's
Right,
given Saudi Arabia or
captain.
something.
Yeah. On Andy Lowe's son.
Damian Lowe.
Right.
Yeah, you heard the conversation, you read it or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I heard it.
All right. Have you, as skipper, ever been in a position like that where you have been spoken to in such a manner by the administration?
No, because again, I guess monkey know what treat the clients on. So there are moments when I've you go to the general sec and you realize that things not taking place and he's not taking what you bring to him to the heads that be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will go straight to the person. In the past, I would go and speak with Mr. Timkey and let him know how I feel about what's going on or what is needed for the team, for the players, what should be done. And, the one thing I respected about him, he never held my perspective, my opinion, and the way that I express myself, never held that against me. And I was able to build a mutual respect with him. And that was it.
What about Mr. John
respected
Williams?
me.
What was the mutual respect like with Mr. John Williams?
He sound kind of eager. The man can wait for you to stop talking. Man jumping.
Well, when Mr. Williams came
Come, don't stutter now.
What's that?
Don't stutter now. Come talk.
When he no, let me tell you. When he actually called me.
Mm-hmm.
He called me. He said he needs me to be part of the setup. He wants to send a team to Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants me to lead that team. Obviously, that team would have been pretty much a President 11 team because most of the players went
To America.
To America. And you, Mr. Lasana Limbert, I remember messaging you.
Really Limbert.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember messaging, yes, I too minded about this. I really think, you say, you know what, this is a new administration, give them a chance. Remember you telling me that?
That sounds like a very wise statement to make.
Right. You say, and you wasn't the only person that told me that when I asked for advice because I really didn't. And it wasn't because of him, because I didn't know him that much at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we were all hoping for the best at that point in time.
Right. I didn't know him that much. So I decided I committed to the trip, which was kind of turned out to be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Came back and we were preparing to go to Olympic qualifiers with Coach Hood.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back from that Brazil trip, I never heard from him. But the morning of, when we were looking to travel for the Olympic qualifiers, I got a phone call. Good luck. I'm like, okay, thank you. It's like, okay, we came back from a whole trip, how long? No. And then the morning to go on another trip, you call in. So we didn't had a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say.
Okay.
Probably because you're taking advice from the wrong people. That's all.
Well, Lasana actually give me advice in favor of them.
Yeah. This fellow is played the long.
That's how I felt and decided to go.
He's played the long
because
game.
of the advice of them.
He's played the long game.
It seemed right at the time, is what we will say, really. It seemed right at the time.
Maylee, it was fun as expected. Talking to it was very eye-opening on many levels. But
Right.
you know what? You know the part we reached to now.
What's that?
You must give us a funny story, something that took place. At some part of your career. Could be something in a game, a training session, something that
Well, I don't
would
know.
make us laugh. Nothing.
I don't know if it's.
Nothing
I
to do
don't
with
think
me.
it's funny. I don't think it's funny, but it was definitely a learning experience, and it was, when looking back at it, I could only laugh and smile to see how far I've reached. I remember our first time playing for the national team. We were preparing for the under-19 tournament that was held back in Trinidad at the CONCACAF tournament. So we automatically had a spot there. But we went as like an invitational team to the tournament, the Caribbean tournament in Jamaica. So now, game against Jamaica, we playing on this field next to a prison. So the prisoners outside, having a time on the roof or wherever. The crowd going off, and we playing Jamaica. That was the last game of the group stage for Jamaica. And first time representing Trinidad and Tobago, nice, feeling good. And a player pushed me, and I literally hit an elbow.
Yeah.
But the referee didn't see. The whole crowd went off, got a red card.
Oh, wow.
Your first
Right,
game,
so
you got a red card?
No, that was the first, but that was the last game of the tournament at the group stage. No, going in this is first time. I crying like a baby. 14 years of age, right? So going in the stands, I'd also go in the stands. I have a bottle of drinking. Half time now. The referee coming off the field now. And if you see me running with the bottle in my hand to hit the referee.
They almost send a van to put you next
and
door.
the coach over back. So now, after the game, Ricardo Nelson was our manager. And she's like, you have to go and apologize to the referee. So now going to the referee, going and apologize. And she said, Trini, you lucky you remind me of myself, or else you'd have been in some problems. And from that day, from since then till now, we good. We really good. Her name is Diane from Guyana. She's one of the best referees in FIFA in women's game. And that time she's like, Trini, you lucky you remind me of myself when I was good.
Talking about that fiery spark, Maylee, what do you attribute that to? Where you inherited that from? Where you got that from?
Where I inherited from?
Your sense of justice and your combative spirit, essentially,
Well, you see, growing up in the ghetto makes you rough, and it makes you
where
tough,
exactly?
right?
Where exactly? You say ghetto. What location? St. James, Diego Martin?
No, well, I'm from
Bayside
the West.
Towers.
Nile Street Cookery to be exact.
Okay.
Right? And I've seen it all. You're fighting growing up and everything. So it just make you rough, tough, aggressive, and but it's more so passion. A lot of people take my aggression and combativeness, they take my passion for being combative and aggressive, and it's not much I can say. I just know I'm just extremely passionate about everything that I do, and it comes off to some people as aggression and being combative. So
you're passionate about giving a referee a drink.
Well, you see, around that time, I was like a rebel without a cause. Let me just put it at that. No, I'm a rebel with a cause.
Okay.
Maybe one thing I want to say before we leave, when you decide to coach, right? You said that you needed to get calm. Don't lose your passion. Your passion is required in coaching, right?
I said I needed to patience.
Patience, right? Patience, yeah. You have the patience. I watch you with Kai on mornings. You have it already. You have it already. So don't lose the passion though. Don't lose it at all.
Right.
That necessary, and your players will feed off of that.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
No. If you
I think that is why I've butted heads with a lot of local coaches, because, you know, as a player, you want a coach that is as competitive as you are, right? And if he or she isn't, you're gonna have a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah, well, the player is the person on the field. The player is the person on the field. So that's the person going out to the war. So they have to feel that they had the support of everybody in it with them. So yeah,
correct.
I think after you finish the business of qualifying for the Women's World Cup, then that coaching waiting for you, right? That waiting for you, and the support that you need or want, you have people willing to back you on that.
Thank you so very much.
So this brings us to the end. Maylee Attin-Johnson, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your service to Trinidad and Tobago. I want to be sitting down in front of a TV, because I ain't really going to no World Cups, but I want to be sitting down in front of a TV, watching you with your hand on your chest, singing the national anthem proudly.
One of the greatest feelings in the world is walking on that field and saying your national anthem.
Yes, same here, Maylee. Best wishes. You beat Barney up. Chancellor didn't beat me yet, so we had to see what you really made of sometime.
And can't reach you. You make that word.
You know, I like you for that. You know, your memory long. He always reaching. He never reaching.
He always reaching.
Yeah.
So you'll see about that next time. Thanks again, Maylee.
All right, Maylee.
No problem.
Stay good.
Take care.
Okay, bye. I'm gonna take Maylee up that chancellor then. Trade in.
Nah, you ain't want that.
Trade in. Late all out.
Late all out, you're going to die. You ain't want that. All
right. See everyone in...
See?
Yeah. All right.
And that takes us to the end of our... Yeah, right. Me not good at them things. You go ahead.
I had no ideas either.
The Burdie and Barney show would be back every other Wednesday. We'll be back every other Wednesday.
We'll be back 2 Wednesdays from now. No, yeah,
what?
2 Wednesdays from now. If they're hearing us on this Wednesday. Listen out for Burdie and Barney.
Every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday. Later, everyone.
That's real horrible. It's not generic something we want. Listen out for the Burdie and Barney show every other Wednesday.
The Burdie and Barney, what did I say?
Listen out for the Burdie and Barney show every other Wednesday on your favorite podcast platforms. However. Well, you can fix that.
Okay. Put that one down for history, one for the archives.
Oh, that ain't going on in history.
That's a special one.
And we out.
Yeah. People like it and the crowd give me free. People like it to the people what they want. People like it, tell them all them. People like it, all the cool on in the People like it on the